Hello and welcome to Tonalist Paintings by M. Francis McCarthy. Pardon me. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and today is Saturday, January 30th, 2016. And those of you that are paying attention may have noticed that I bailed on you last Tuesday or Wednesday, and you had no video and you had no podcast. And all I can say is I'm not doing 100 days anymore, so if I skip a day here and there, it's just the breaks. But I do intend to keep this thing going, and I'll try always at least do one post during the week, and I like doing two. So I've been very busy processing photography for the last series of paintings that I completed, and that tends to really bite into my time because I have to go in and basically erase little specular highlights. I've really got the lighting down pretty well so that I don't get any sheen across the surface, but there's little tiny peaks of the painting that'll have a little catch light effect, and I go into the healing tool in Photoshop, and I have to do that. I can do a little bit of, I was just going to say I have to do it by hand, but there's a little bit of semi-automated processes that I use to remove, probably gets rid of 50 to 60% of them, and then I need to finish up by hand, which is something I'd love to have my art assistant do. I just don't seem to have one, so I have to do it myself. But this is actually the second audio that I'm recording for this video, you guys, because every now and again this silly freaking video program switches over to my web camera, so the audio sounds like it's in a tin can. It's just terrible. So I don't want you guys to have to suffer. So I'm doing it again, and hopefully you appreciate it. Appreciate the rambling anyway. This particular study we're doing today, I don't know if I've said it yet, it's called North of Town, and it's a 5x7. We have a larger version that's an 8x10. We'll be discussing that in a few days, but this is a painting that's based on some reference photographs I took outside of a town here in New Zealand called Rotorua, and I'm not usually into location-specific motifs, but there's a really fascinating, to me, really fascinating features there when you're driving into town, going south along the main highway. There's these mounds, and they're volcanic mounds, and they have little trees perched on top. And Rotorua is famous for having these geyser, not so much geysers, but it has these volcanic activity in these steam pools, and people go there to take the cure, so to speak, in the naturally hot and sulfuric water there. And I've been there a couple times and really dig it. And it was last time I didn't approach from the north going south. I think I came into town a different way, so I didn't even see these particular trees. But pretty happy with this little study, and maybe even more so than the painting that we'll be talking about in a few days. I definitely like them both, though, and I made an effort to go out and photograph this reference and take some mental notes, and there you go. What's going on? Well, we finished a big series of paintings. That was last week. We did some photography, and this week I've been starting to I already got most of the studies done for the next pass. I've decided I'm going to go after 10 at a time instead of 18. It was just stretching the time out, and I probably talked about that in the last video, so I won't bore you with that again. But I've also decided that I'm going to pursue some additional tonalist studies, and I'm going for 25 of them, which I'll be salting into the blog here and there, and as they happen. And or I mean, well, knowing me, I'll get them all done. and get them all processed, because part of the way I work is that I can't really put anything up until I do my final photography, and that is such a chore that I generally will stack up a bunch of paintings, and I'll try and do 20 or 30 paintings at a time. But my thinking is with this 25 tonalist studies is I'd like to keep going with the teaching and learning. I feel I really got a lot out of doing the 100 days, and it really helped me, especially in regards to my approach to composition, which I see more and more as the greatest challenge that we face as a painter, especially a painter that is utilizing photographic reference, because photographic reference is basically just a copy of nature, and if you just copy that photograph the way it is, things are going to be flawed. And I've known this for ages, and even knowing it, I still have a tendency to, let's just face it, it's a tendency for self-deception. You believe that things are okay because your rationale is that, it's there in the photograph, it looks okay, but more and more the logic that I'm applying is one that where I question every aspect of the painting, and I have to ask myself, is this painting going to be better without this particular element? It might be a rock, it could be a tree, it could be a clump of clouds, it could be who knows, some flowers, it could be anything, any aspect of the painting, but everything in the painting needs to justify its existence. There's no place in a work of art, especially landscape painting, for extraneous or needless items, and that is more and more and more and more and more and more and more the thing that I'm really focusing on now. And the more I focus on it, the better my work gets. The simpler I can make things, the better. I was talking about on the now deleted original audio how when you're processing these photos, I can see a really good zoom in of the painting, and there's a beautiful lattice work in all, if I do say so myself, in all my paintings. But in spite of that, if it doesn't function as a gazelle, if it doesn't function large first, it's a failure, even if the color's beautiful and the technique is spot on. If the composition isn't right, it's a failure anyway. Let's see, I can see we're getting close to the end here. Thanks for joining us today, and we will be back Tuesday of next week, and definitely going to try and keep this going twice a week, but if I do once a week now and again, you guys just got to live with it, I guess, and forgive me, because I'm doing it all by myself here. So thanks for joining me today. If you'd like to see more of my work, go to landscapepainter.co.nz, and we'll see you next week. Meanwhile, take good care and stay out of trouble.